I'm serious. Don't bite boxes. Oh my God, don't move to another box. I know I need to clean up the box, okay? I know it. And I know you nervously bite boxes. But listen, no, just move. Come here. Stop it. I love you. Don't bite boxes. Okay? You bite boxes, you get kissed uncomfortably much. That's a phrase that came out of my mouth. What? Don't leap down. Mwah! Yep. Cat hair all over my shirt. You like my hat? My wife. My midlife crisis seems to be wizards. Because I've been getting into wizard stuff lately. It all started because I wanted to have a refrigerator magnet of a wizard playing an arcade machine, and I couldn't find any. They didn't exist. So I do what anybody in 2023 does when they want a piece of artwork that doesn't exist and they don't want to make it themselves. I use AI image generation to plagiarize the styles of everybody else. Anyway, I created probably 70 freaking wizards playing arcade cabinets. I used one in my big rant video about Polymega last week, 2 weeks ago. I don't know. Anyway, the point is, my wife found a hat. It's like a wizard hat. It's cats in boxes, man. It's a wizard hat, like a knitted wizard hat, and I am a wizard. Alright, so what am I playing? I guess I should start by apologizing again for the mess. I had it all cleaned up, and then more games came in, and I was going through picking games to play, and I made a mess again. I think it's always just going to be in various states of disarray behind me. Like, the best I'm going to do is it'll be all nice and tidy for like one day. And I'll film something and be all proud of how tidy it is. And then by the next video, I'll be like, maybe I should play Vengeful Guardian Moonrider, and I'll take it out and do stuff with it. Anyway, what am I playing? All right, so let's start with the first thing that we played and beat, and that is Dark Souls Remastered. I played it on PC. I've been playing it online cooperatively with friends for about 3 months, 4 months. I don't know. It's been a while. I mentioned before that I've been playing this with my friends, and we're all busy adults with jobs and lives and other responsibilities going on, pulling us away from gaming. And when you play a Souls game cooperatively with a bunch of friends like that, it's the sort of thing where you realistically you have to play the game like 3 times if there's 3 people playing. Because, every single boss, you've got to beat it for every single person. And beating it cooperatively with a friend does not give you credit for it. So you basically, like I said, you play the game X times, where X is however many people are playing. And you combine that with the fact that it's really hard to find time when everybody's available, and you wind up getting these gaming sessions that can take months. And literally that's what happened with Dark Souls. But we did finally finish it this last week. We went and did... The only thing we had left to do was the final boss, and then we also had to do the Painted World of Ariamis. We didn't do the DLC We were tempted to, but, you know, I was the one who really didn't want to do it, and everybody was like, well, let's not make Sam play the DLC. So we went and did Painted World of Ariamis. You know, went and fought everybody's favorite furry waifu, Priscilla. And then we went and beat the final boss, which was Gwendolyn, or Gwyn? Gwyn? I think it's Great Lord Gwyn. So all these characters with a similar name, it's kind of hard. They did that also in Elden Ring, so it gets confusing. But the point is we beat it. It was a lot of fun. I really, really fucking love Dark Souls, man. It's just so fun. So yeah, we beat Dark Souls, and it was fun. So the next game is actually something that we're also playing cooperative. The same group of friends, like literally the next day, I believe. I'm trying to remember when it was. It was Saturday that we started this other game. So I think we finished the game. I think we finished Dark Souls either the Friday night or the Thursday night before. I don't remember. The point is, or maybe we just finished it that morning. I don't remember. The point is that we beat Dark Souls and then almost immediately started the next game. And the next game is Lords of the Fallen. We started this on the PlayStation 5. So Lords of the Fallen is, you know, it's another Souls-like. It's complicated. The Lords of the Fallen franchise was one of the first non-From Software Souls-likes to come out. Back in like 2014, I believe, is when it came out. And it was a little controversial. Some people really didn't like it because it felt like the developer didn't really entirely understand the Souls formula. Now, I personally really loved the first Lords of the Fallen. I really did enjoy it. But then again, that was a period where I was like really, really jonesing for more Souls-like content. So when I encountered the original Lords of the Fallen back in 2014, you know, I was very much in the mood for more Souls games. So even if it wasn't great, I still enjoyed it. I have a feeling that if I were to go back and play the original Lords of the Fallen in 2023, I probably would be much more critical of it than I was at the time. But at the time, I loved it. As an aside to an aside, the original developer of the original Lords of the Fallen is the same developer that went on to create Surge. So clearly, they have kind of mastered their craft, because I would argue that the Surge games are really some of the best non-From Software Souls-likes out there. They are really spectacular. Surge 2 is amazing. But anyway, back to the current Lords of the Fallen. So the publisher still has, of course, the rights to the original Lords of the Fallen, and they, for whatever reason, I don't know the internal machinations, what was going on inside their company, but they decided to reboot the franchise and, you know, have an entirely new developer create a brand new Lords of the Fallen game. And that's what this is. This is a rebooted Lords of the Fallen franchise. And as far as I can tell, it doesn't seem to have any lore or story connection to the original Lords of the Fallen. You know, that being said, my memory of this decade-old original game is a little lacking, so maybe it is a continuation of the story and I don't realize that. But it doesn't seem to be any sort of continuation or have any sort of link to the original Lords of the Fallen. So what is this current Lords of the Fallen game? Well, like I said, it's a Souls-like. It's yet another Souls-like. It's one that is, quite frankly, like really blatant in its harping, in its lifting from the original Souls formula. I mean, it really is, you know, at some point it stops being an homage to something you love and starts being a blatant ripoff. And I would not say that Lords of the Fallen, the current one, is a blatant ripoff, but it's dangerously close to being a ripoff of the Souls formula. It really doesn't seem to do a whole lot new that we haven't seen previously perfected in other From Software titles. So it is pretty blatant in its copying the format. The one thing that it does new, the one thing that it does differently, is you have this lantern that you can hold up, and it will illuminate a hidden world, an umbral lair, they call it, or an umbral world. It's umbral something. And it will illuminate this umbral world, this otherworldly area that you can interact with, and you can find new items in, and you can find enemies. And you have, using your lantern, you have the ability to switch to that other lair and explore it. And it's kind of a one-way street. You will switch to the other lair, but then you can't revert back to the main world with your lantern. You have to go find specific either waypoints, vestiges, which are this game's version of bonfires, or specific little lanterns in the ground that allow you to switch back. You can't just switch back at will. So there's this real neat risk versus reward as you explore this increasingly dangerous world that is running parallel to the one that you're in. It's an interesting mechanic, but it's like the only mechanic that this Lords of the Fallen has that is unique. Everything else, like I said, is 100% Souls inspired. And it's crazy because even stuff like the whole pyromancy thing, how there's always a pyromancer in these Dark Souls games. They have that. There's a character called Inferno there's a stat called the Inferno stat, which gives you the ability to basically have all of the pyromancy spells from a Souls game. It's kind of crazy. But anyway, we grabbed it, we picked it up, we played co-op. The game only has 2-player co-op, which we did a little bit of initial investigation, and we were under the impression that all 3 of us could play together. But it actually only has 2-player co-op, but a 3rd player can invade, which doesn't really help us for playing a game co-op. So we're going to have to do this kind of leapfrog thing where, we pick 2 people to play together, and maybe the other person does that section solo or something. Or maybe you watch the stream of them doing it. You can do this thing on the PlayStation 5 where you can do a friend streaming in the party, and you can put it picture in picture while you're playing. So we've been doing stuff like that to allow us to sort of play the game cooperatively. All that being said, it's, in spite of the fact that it is very much not a terribly original game, aside from the whole Umbral Lair thing, and aside from the fact that it only has 2-player co-op, we've been having a blast. We really did. We spent all day, I think, Saturday. All day, relative values all day. I mean, I think by 1 p.m., everybody was wanting to go run errands, but we certainly did play all day Saturday morning, and then we played again Saturday evening. So I'm going to count that as all day when you consider it's 3 busy adults. But anyway, no, we're having a lot of fun. I'm enjoying it. It's a lot of fun. We're really enjoying it. We created some utterly ridiculous characters, and it's just a lot of fun to play with friends. Lords of the Fallen, I'm really looking forward to finishing this. It's a lot of fun. All right, so what's the next game? Well, the next game that I'm playing is Vengeful Guardian Moonrider. I'm playing this on the Nintendo Switch. Now, what is this? This is a retro-inspired, side-scrolling action game with some mild platforming elements. In all honesty, it reminds me a lot of the Shinobi Shadow Dancer game from the Sega Genesis. Like, that's really what the gameplay reminds me of. However, its structure is very much like a Mega Man game. You are given this choice of multiple paths, multiple stages to select from, and at the end of the stage, when you defeat the boss, you gain some sort of skill from that boss, which you then can take and use against another boss in the game. So its progression is very much like a Mega Man title. And there are certainly aspects of it that are almost like Mega Man X. So if I were to really try to summarize what this game plays like, it kind of plays like a Mega Man X combined with Shinobi Shadow Dancer. That's the way I would describe it. All wrapped in this glorious 16-bit goodness. And I'm really loving it. I'm enjoying it a lot. The game is also made by Joy Masher, which is a developer that has done some previously done some really great 16-bit inspired games, including what was it, the Odalis one? That one was a lot of fun. I think they did Blazing Chrome. Yeah, I went and got the PlayStation 4 copy of Blazing Chrome, and sure enough, it's Joy Masher. The point is that they're a developer that really does have a lot of retro chops. Like, they've got a lot of experience developing really great retro games. And, you know, as much as I loved Blazing Chrome, I really do think that Vengeful Guardian Moonrider is the better title. It really is like, this feels like, more so than any other game that they've made, this really feels like something that could have come out for like the Sega Genesis, the Super Nintendo. This feels like something I would have played in the 90s, and I love it. It is extraordinarily fun. Vengeful Guardian Moonrider. I'm loving it. I recommend it very highly. All right, so what else am I playing? Well, I got a lot this week. This is going to be a long video. I started Elden Ring. I'm playing it pretty much exclusively on my Steam Deck. I will probably have to play some of it on my PC to capture it and put it over this, unless I want to just use like Elden Ring footage from a year ago, but I don't think I want to do that. I think I'm going to go and record new stuff. Anyway, so obviously I've played Elden Ring before. I think I've played it like 4 or 5 times at this point. I played it a few times on a PlayStation 5 originally when it first came out. I played it cooperatively on PlayStation 5 with my friends. And then I also bought it on PC with the express purpose of being able to play it on my Steam Deck when my Steam Deck first arrived last year. And I did. On my original Steam Deck, I played Elden Ring, you know, from beginning to end, and I loved it. It was an incredible experience on the Steam Deck. It honestly was a better experience on the Steam Deck than it was playing it on PC, because I did have to record footage before, and, you know, obviously I'm going to have to record some footage now, and it's juddery. It's like there's a lot of frame pacing issues that are predominantly, probably, due to shader compilation issues. On PC, whereas if you play it on the Steam Deck, you don't have these problems. Anyway, the point is now I've got this new Steam Deck OLED, and I thought, you know, why not repeat what I did before and play Elden Ring on my new OLED Steam Deck. And so that's the reason I'm playing it, and I'm really enjoying it. I'm playing New Game Plus. I've never played New Game Plus before in Elden Ring. I've done it New Game Plus in other Souls games, but I haven't. This is the first time I've done it in an Elden Ring game. Previously, whenever I played Elden Ring, I just created a whole new character and started over. So this time it's kind of fun to take a character that I already had built and kind of continue it into New Game Plus, going back and trying the early bosses again with the build that I had by the end of the game. And I don't know if it's just my build is really advanced, or if Elden Ring's New Game Plus is easy, but it is very easy. Like, I'm able to kill the bosses and most of the enemies in the game, and I'm able to clear areas very quickly, just without a whole lot of effort. And I don't know if my build is just too OP, or if New Game Plus in Elden Ring is weaker than New Game Plus has been in previous From Software Souls games. But yeah, I'm playing it. I'm having a lot of fun, and I don't really have much else to say. It's been fun. All right, so the next one that I'm playing, Rogue Genesia. I'm playing this on PC, and of course on my Steam Deck. Now, I mentioned Rogue Genesia last time. It's another one of these Vampire Survivors-like games. What makes it interesting, what sets it apart from other Vampire Survivors clones, is that it kind of has a level progression similar to something like Slay the Spire. It also has a couple of characters that have some pretty wild weapon choices. You've got the gunslinger, who can literally only ever have one weapon at a given time, and it's always some form of a gun. Then you've got the summoner, who basically all they can do is summon enemies from the game, and is unable to use weapons from the other characters. And it's fun. I'm really enjoying Rogue Genesia. It's very quickly become like my go-to game to play when I put on some music and I've got my headset on and I'm playing tunes and everybody's in bed and I'm just kind of trying to unwind before I go to bed myself. Rogue Genesia has very quickly become the game that I choose to play in those circumstances. And I'm loving it. It's a lot of fun. All right, so the last game that I'm playing is not a new game, except it is a new game, and I'll explain why. It is the Solitaire Conspiracy. I'm playing it on PC. Specifically, I have it on the Epic Games Store. So the Solitaire Conspiracy is basically one of these solitaire games, these card games where you have kind of vaguely solitaire rules that are kind of wrapped up in a larger meta game. There's other ones that exist that are similar. Fairy Solitaire comes to mind. That's one that I've played and I really enjoy. And these are kind of guilty pleasure games for me. I've always been somebody who kind of likes solitaire as a game. And so anytime you can take that traditional solitaire formula and like recast it and use it in a unique and interesting video game mechanic, I'm going to get into it. I definitely like Solitaire Conspiracy for that very reason. Now, what's interesting about this, and why I say it's new but not new, is technically speaking, I already played this, probably a year or two ago. And actually, by this point, it's probably been more than 2 years. And I beat it. I had a lot of fun. I finished it. But for whatever reason, maybe Epic Games Store didn't have cloud saves at the time, because Epic Games Store is kind of garbage. But for whatever reason, it didn't save into the cloud my saved game with the completed game in it. So now that I installed it on this PC that is new since the last time I played it, I basically had to start all the way over. Like, I had to start literally at the beginning and had to go through all the tutorials again, which was a little bit irritating, to be honest. But at the same token, it's also kind of fun to, play the game again, especially since I really haven't played it in 2 years. As far as what the game is, like I said, it's vaguely a solitaire game. It's very much inspired by like the solitaire gameplay, but it contextualizes it all in a kind of a high stakes spy versus spy kind of world. All of your cards, or at least the face cards, represent specific espionage teams, and so by using them in unique and interesting ways, and they have different sort of skills that they can use, you kind of tell this meta narrative of this global conspiracy between all of these different spy agencies, basically. And I mean, like I said, it's just kind of a lot of window dressing for what is otherwise vaguely a solitaire game. But I am enjoying it, and I enjoyed it the first time I played it, and I'm enjoying it again. It's fun.
Nice, you're doing it. You're figuring out how to play to the strengths of the different crew.
So over the weekend, H Bomber guy, I think is his real name Harry? I don't know. Anyway, he uploaded a big essay video, like a 4-hour long essay video, and it's titled something about plagiarism. And the thing is that I like his videos and I watch his videos, but 4 hours is a lot to ask for me to sit down and watch in one sitting. And it's also, I know a lot of people will watch stuff like this in the background while they're doing other things, but it's like, I can't do that. I have to focus on it. So the end result is that even though it came out like maybe 3 or 4 days ago at this point, I'm about 2 hours in. I watch it in like 30-minute chunks. And so I'm not done with the video, but I'm about 2 hours in. So far, it's really good, really interesting stuff. I'm waiting for the classic H-Bomber guy twist where it's like, suddenly there's like some larger thing that he's trying to say that, if you've been paying attention, suddenly makes sense. My guess, and I haven't made it far enough, so I could be wrong, my guess is it has something to do with AI, because, basically AI is plagiarizing a lot of stuff. And there's all sorts of different people who have exposed AI plagiarism in the past, where you like, hey, I want to draw this image, and you describe an image that already exists, and AI basically just takes that original image and puts a few little changes on it and passes it off as something new, even though it's very clearly plagiarized. So if I were to guess, and it could be that I'm completely wrong, but if I were to guess, I guess that's what I guess. I guess he's in a roundabout way going to come around to AI plagiarism. But I'm not done with the video, so I could be wrong. Anyway, so the reason that I'm bringing this up is because a lot of like YouTube creators would be watching this video, smaller little nobodies like myself, would be watching this and be like, oh shit, I hope nobody steals my stuff. That would really be a bummer. But that's like not my fear. Because honestly, I don't have scripts. When I do this, I don't have a script. Let me show you my script. Whatever. So yeah, this is my script. It's just a bunch of bullet points. It's just bullet points of what I want to say, and then I get up here and I pretty much ad-lib it all. So like what I am doing is ad-libbing, 100%. Just throwing shit out on the fly. So if you want to plagiarize me, you're going to come across as a complete idiot. Because my stuff is all ad-libbed, grammatical word salad nonsense. So good fucking luck. Anyway, as I'm watching it, my real fear is not that somebody else might plagiarize me. It's that I might accidentally plagiarize somebody else. Because I'm ad-libbing everything. Everything that I'm doing is just coming from me standing here and yakking. That's 100% of what I'm doing. But the thing is, it's very possible, in fact, it's probably pretty likely that I, read some media or an opinion on games that I'm playing and talking about, and then forgot that I read it, but like internalized something from it. And then months or years later, when I ad-lib, I could be regurgitating something that somebody else had already written. And so I'm suddenly extremely paranoid about that. Because if I do, it's completely unintentional. It's just old man brain encountering something and then forgetting where he encountered it and thinks it's his own. But now I'm really paranoid about it. So I guess, to the inevitable time when I am exposed as a fraud and a plagiarist, let's pre-worry my apology video and say, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to plagiarize, Joey Johnny Switchface, his review of Vengeful Guardian Moonrider. when I talked about it. I'm sorry. I mean, I didn't do it on purpose because, like I said, if I'm doing it at all, it's completely accidental. But anyway. Yeah, so 5 years from now, H Bomber Guy is going to do a video entitled, all the times Amazing Criswell plagiarized shit. He won't call it that. He'll have something creative. Because he's creative, and I'm not. I just, I talk about video games a lot. That's it. Part 6. Internet nobody, Amazing Criswell, plagiarizes Kate Middleton in his Armored Core Collector's Edition unboxing video.